Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here on Bitcoin and the markets. All right, we've seen a little bit of bearish pressure, as you can see right here. It's also nothing unmanageable, but you can see Bitcoin dominance is going up. Bitcoin is pulling down into support right here, which was ultimately always a possibility. So that creates quite a lot of fear in the markets. Now, do I think you need to be fearful in the markets right now? No, and that's what I'll talk about in this video. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, we'll take a look at XRP, we'll take a look at Ethereum, and then I will do, my apologies, I just shook my entire table, and then we'll talk about some altcoins. Now, I have to say, and I said that this morning already as well, but most altcoins are very correlated with Bitcoin. Right, and that is expected to continue into the FOMC minutes we have tonight. So if you did not know, we have FOMC minutes tonight, which is basically some sort of a report by the Federal Reserve. That matters a lot. All right, so that is also one of the key reasons I think why we are pushing down right now, and why most altcoins are very correlated to Bitcoin. So keep that in mind. Tonight is going to be quite volatile again, or it's going to stay quite volatile. So far, I wouldn't necessarily call this volatile, but there is movement. So keep that in mind, right? But if we take a look at all the fundamentals right now, the S&P 500 is pulling back slightly after the opening, but it's barely anything. And there's some, some of you might say, well, there's rising tension again between the US and Russia. And that is true. But then what I normally say is that, all right, well, take a look at gold. Take a look at the volatility index. Those give you a better idea if unrest is rising for real, or if the market is thinking that. And that's not the case. Gold is actually pulling back over the course of today. Volatility index is lower, or not lower, but it's lower than last week Friday, and just in general it's quite low. So therefore I'd say that we are pulling back a little bit, but I am not fearful right now about the market circumstances. We still have a Coinbase Bitcoin premium right here, and something else which makes me quite optimistic about this bearish pressure, and I would say it's closer to an opportunity than something to be fearful about, is the fact that we're seeing a lot of short positions being opened. Now, I'll quickly zoom into this, but what you can see right here, is this updated? Yeah, what you can see right here is that since the US opening this afternoon, the open interest has gone up a fair bit, as you can see right here, while the CVD has gone down. All right, what that means is short positions being opened. There's some long limits probably being opened as well, but this is primarily shorts opened. That pushes down the price. Outside of that, stock markets are trading a little bit lower, like I said, so that's causing some bearish pressure as well. And we're probably also seeing some de-risking into the FOMC minutes. However, when we're talking about the FOMC minutes, I think it's hard to get a bearish reaction from that. We're already expecting the first rate cut in September, which is quite late. So I doubt that they can say anything which makes us expect rate cuts even later. And does that really matter then? I'm not certain. And then outside of that, like I said, I don't see any reason why the S&P 500 or equities should dump down much lower, right? So when we're talking about Bitcoin, our first support is right here at 107,000. I think we can drop down lower, and I would personally welcome a move into 105,000. So can we push down lower right now? Certainly. There is some bearish pressure, but ultimately on the higher time frames, I think the structure for Bitcoin will remain bullish, and I think deeper pullbacks are for buying rather than getting scared and selling off, even though there's this popular mantra, selling may go away. I don't believe in that too much yet. And we're leaving some imbalances to the upside, which we can fill later. But those are my thoughts on the markets in general and Bitcoin. And like I said, most coins are correlated to Bitcoin. So therefore, what I think about Bitcoin also applies to most altcoins. When we're talking about XRP, I have not much to add, right? We're testing support. This is what we spoke about this morning as well. We can spike down lower, but ultimately I do think we'll find support right here between 2.22, 2.17 for a move down. And at this point of time, I'm not even convinced we'll really drop down below support, which is 2.25. Talking about ETH, we also knew this was a possibility. This morning I said, it's quite likely we're going to get a push into this level right here between 2,600 and 2,500. I still expect that, and then the reaction to that level will tell us whether we're able to rally up to 2,800 right now, or that it takes a little bit later. I'll keep you updated on that in Ethereum videos, right? There's not much more I can say right now about Ethereum that I did not say this morning. And then lastly, talking about altcoins, a couple of altcoins I like. First of all, Ton, and I have to say with Ton, I am in a position in this, right? So I might be a little bit biased, but Ton got some great news, but not only did it get great news, we also got a great reaction. As you can see, we've now hit resistance, so we are at resistance. So should you blindly buy? Definitely not, but the volume is absolutely incredible. Not only the spot volume, but also leverage volume is very high. So this looks like, at least for now, it can actually rally up higher. Although we've left a lot of imbalances to the downside, so a pullback first is probably most likely. But that's Ton, right? So that's the Telegram Open Network. That's this. Then I also wanted to talk about Uniswap. Uniswap, especially this morning, was showing quite a lot of promise. I deleted the chart, which is obviously great, but was showing a lot of promise. Has pulled back right now, but ultimately is gaining some volume. And I think at some point of time we will break above $7, or we will retest the main support level at 5.8, 5.6. And I think those are opportunities you should not miss, right? So keep your eyes on Uniswap as well. The ticker is, of course, Uni. And then last but not least, my apologies, I wanted to talk about Teller a little bit. High risk, right? But the volume of this and the aggressive move we had makes me believe that, you know, if you're a risk taker, this area right here around 40, 38 has some potential for a bounce. But like I said, this is highly manipulated. So check it out. And if you're a bit more of an experienced trader, I think you can actually get some nice trades out of this volatility. But if you are not an experienced trader, stay away. Those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know regarding the market right now. So short term, more bearish momentum possible and perhaps to be expected. But ultimately, I think we'll bounce. Maybe before FOMC, maybe after, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I'll keep you updated on that. But that is, I think, at least what you need to know for now. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.